Hey Warzone fans, and welcome to another Ranting Reaper loadout video. Today we're going to talk about a gun that is not one of my favorites, but we are doing every gun in the game. And if you like a burst gun, this is the main or only really. There's a couple that have the ability to be burst, but this I think was the only burst AR so far that's come out that comes as a burst. In other Call of Duty games, I've quite liked the burst guns. Have been actually one of my favorites in a lot of times, but in this particular game, I don't know, this FR556, not one of my favorites. You don't see it used a lot in Warzone. I did the camos for it though. I got my Damascus for it when I did all the other guns, and so I have used it, and it's not terrible. You get used to it. If you use it enough, it becomes decent, but I guess it has a bit of a slow learning curve maybe. Anyways, we're gonna look at best class setup here for this gun. I do not run this gun as a close gun. You can kind of do this variation of this gun where you try to run it more as a quick aim ADS, up close gun. I mean, it does have some good power in it, and if you're accurate with it, it can be okay, but it just doesn't really compare. It's not fast enough to compare with SMGs or even the FAL at this point. So let's talk about using it as an anti-sniper, using it as a long gun. That's I think where it shines the best. We're going to go with the monolithic suppressor for that sound suppression, staying off the map, and that damage range and that hidden stat of the 15% bullet velocity increase. We're going to use the longest barrel available, right, which is going to give us damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, which is going to be very important here. This has a pretty vertical recoil. And no laser. We're going to go with the VLK 3x scope. This gun really does need a scope. You could try different scopes. A lot of the pros and other YouTubers use this scope. And apparently it helps with recoil or noticing less noticeable recoil. Definitely some kind of 3x, 3.5 times, 4 times scope. You could do a solo zero on there. This is a pretty quick scope though too. It doesn't slow down your ADS as much as some of the other scopes like the thermals. Alright, we're not going to change the stock. We're not going to have a perk. We're not going to do a rear grip. If you were going to do a rear grip, say not run the 60 round mags or not run a sight, and you wanted to put a rear grip, you could either do the stippled for the sprint to fire speed ADS, or I would do the recoil control. I would probably run recoil control on this. I think this is all about recoil control. Really, that's what, to make this gun good, you want as much recoil control as possible, but I also feel that it really needs the sight. So we're going to go with a sight in this case. If anything, I would get rid of the 60 round mags and go to the smaller magazine, since you're going to be trying to use this to shoot people far away. And then the Merc foregrip to do that vertical recoil, and to give you a little bit of hip fire, and just in case you're stuck with this gun in your hand when somebody pops in front of you and you have to panic shoot it. And there you go, guys. That's it. That's my FR556 for Warzone. And even for multiplayer, honestly, I would probably run it like this and watch lanes with it. In multiplayer, you can get people in one burst, but in Warzone, it's probably going to take 3. And so that's what gives it its biggest problem. It just doesn't hit hard enough to be super viable. But if you can get it really tight and get enough of those shots in the head, you can, I think, you can maybe bring that down to a 2 burst in Warzone. So there you go, guys. There's the FR556. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to have a quick recoil spread on there. Recoil with no attachments, recoil with these attachments, so you can kind of see the difference. And yeah, that's it, guys. We'll see you in the next video. There isn't going to be any gameplay for this one because I don't have any recorded, but just a recoil. So enjoy that, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, guys, so here we're doing this with no input from me. Actually, here, we'll do hip fire first. Hip fire spread first. And with the Merc foregrip on there, hip fire is not bad. Alright, not too bad. Not as good maybe as an SMG, but not far off. So this AR probably has one of the better hip fires there with that Merc foregrip. Alright, now we're going to look at ADS shooting. We'll see the sight sway there. It's got a bit, but it's not terrible. And this is no input from me. We're just going to go straight shots, no control on the right stick or on the mouse. And with these attachments, you can see, not too bad. And that's with no input from me. Now this is me trying my best. Mind you, I don't have a lot of practice with this gun, so you could probably do better. And that's me just kind of lightly touching on the stick down a little bit here and there. Not too much difference, to be honest, because it's a burst. You can only burst it so fast, so as long as you're kind of letting it adjust. So accuracy is pretty good. I think the biggest thing on this is just fire rate, and you know, it's hard to get it any more accurate than that. So you're not getting every shot in the head, you know, because it's a burst, not a single shot. So we're going to try this one more time, see if we can get more of a long range engagement here. We'll see how that did. See, at that longer range, I'm a lot more all over the place than I was over there. But still, not terrible. Not terrible. And there you go. That's the 5.56, guys. Like I said, I have to say that, you know, it may hurt this video, but I have to say this is not a gun that I personally would use. In Warzone, I think you're better off going with, if you want to have a gun, I think a marksman rifle or a semi-auto does a better job than this. If you're going to have to sit there and wait for it to steady out every time, even though you get the 3 shots, I just think that I don't know, this is just not a gun I would use a lot in Warzone. And you know, it can be good in multiplayer. When I was using it for the camos, I had some good games. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings of those because it was a while back. But you know, so I was able to wreck with it some games in Warzone, but it still realistically isn't, it's just not the best gun in the game. It really isn't. But there it is. If you want to use it, that would be the class I would suggest trying for Warzone, for longer range, which was the only range I would build it for.